Under the CCP's high-handed rule, public resentment is exploding. The people's fury is now directed squarely at the government. A wave of kill the official and wipe out the family is spreading. China wants war with Japan. Who wins? Who loses? 3 scenarios analyze exactly why China is doomed to defeat. Gamblers never win. The J-10C's Rafale kill exposed as a fabricated victory. China orchestrated the whole story to boost its struggling J-35 program. A catastrophic scandal exposed. Chinese jewelry labeled pure gold and silver found to contain carcinogens 9,000 times over the limit. China's steel industry continues to shrink. Analysis suggests exports may fall by 50%. Welcome to Fox Hunt China. Under the dual pressure of economic depression and authoritarian rule, public resentment on the mainland is boiling over. Recently, vicious incidents have erupted in many places, and targets of revenge have shifted from random society members to the government and its officials. Numerous interviewees say they have totally lost hope in society and urgently wish for the CCP to collapse. On November 30th, a fireworks shop owner in Chenzhou, Hunan province, apparently driven into a corner by long-term harassment and extortion from local authorities, detonated his own store. The explosion was so powerful that several cars were blown into the air and 3 people were injured. His death shocked the entire country, with many praising his courage in speaking the truth. Around 5 p.m. on November 24th, a man drove his car in an attempt to ram the Beihai city government building in Guangxi. He was intercepted and crashed into by an armed patrol vehicle. Internet access in the area was briefly blocked afterward. Beihai resident Zhao Mei said the whole country is in chaos, and everyone knows perfectly well that the CCP system is making everything worse. According to a Phoenix News report later deleted at 3 a.m., on September 1st at number 11 Jinshi Road in Shaguan, Guangdong, a deputy mayor surnamed Liu, along with his family of 9 and 2 nannies, were massacred. It is rumored that the motive may be related to taking money to sell official positions but failing to deliver. The abrupt deletion of the article further fueled suspicions about the severity of the case. Another shocking case of a high-ranking CCP official being killed on September 29th in Huga, Guangdong. An official and his entire family of 15, comprising 3 wives, 7 children, 3 nannies, and 1 driver, were wiped out. The case stunned the local community, but details and motives remain undisclosed. Local authorities deployed a massive police force to investigate. Netizens commented, "The Chinese people are finally standing tall. The Bangladesh model has begun." Back on July 5th in Chawo, Guangdong, a violent clash triggered by forced demolition left the village party secretary of Guangwo village stabbed to death. The attacker was an ordinary citizen enraged by extortion and oppression. Mainland resident Gao Fan said the country is full of corrupt officials and people's anger is building higher and higher. Everyone I know wants them to fall right now. Wu Wing, head of the Overseas China Human Rights Lawyers Alliance, criticized CCP authorities for tightening their suppression of society. He said, "The Chinese people have completely lost all freedom. On top of that, unemployment keeps rising, while burdens of healthcare and education have not been eased." Wu pointed out that as ordinary people see the root cause of their suffering, the target of their retaliation is rapidly shifting toward the power structure itself. Du En, a Chinese legal scholar in Europe, remarked that while many call Chinese people cowardly, in reality, when pushed to the brink, they have sporadically erupted in rights protection actions. For instance, look at the White Paper Revolution, the Sunset Revolution, and teachers demanding back pay. In CCP China, we've even seen individuals hanging banners in busy urban areas, posting online denunciations against Xi. Therefore, when the economy faces major trouble, China absolutely does not lack people willing to rise up. Overseas democracy activist Wang Dan analyzed that structural violence in Chinese society will likely increase if deep-seated problems like wealth gaps and official corruption remain unresolved. Public discontent will continue to accumulate, ultimately threatening the CCP regime. Tensions between China and Japan continue to escalate, following Japanese Prime Minister Sai Takai's statement asserting that a Taiwan contingency is a Japan contingency. China's Ministry of Defense immediately issued a warning of direct confrontation. While social media flooded with images of missile launches, a rational analysis shows that if war breaks out, 3 scenarios could unfold. In the smallest scenario, maritime law enforcement units would be the primary forces. This model, previously employed by Beijing in the South China Sea, exposes major flaws in the East China Sea. Many large Chinese patrol ships are converted military vessels, heavily armed but featuring thinner hulls and weaker structural durability. Meanwhile, Japan operates 476 Coast Guard vessels designed explicitly for ramming and collision resistance. In extended standoffs near the Senkaku Islands, Japan often leverages superior automation to force Chinese ships to retreat. If China calls on its navy, Japan's destroyers utilize advanced gas turbine propulsion systems that accelerate rapidly and maneuver effectively. If China were repelled by Japan, it would be viewed domestically as a national humiliation, fueling nationalism and eroding the government's legitimacy. What appears to be a safe, limited clash is actually a dangerous trap. The second scenario, limited conflict, is considered the most appealing for Beijing. In this scenario, the primary force would be the land-based air units of China's Eastern Theater Command. China might target high-value Japanese aircraft such as P-1 patrol planes or Global Hawks. Shooting down a large aircraft would generate a powerful propaganda impact while minimizing casualties. Beijing might also gamble that the United States wouldn't go all in over a single drone, believing a transactional leader like Donald Trump would hesitate to escalate. This scenario offers huge political rewards for China's leadership, cementing domestic authority. However, this is a classic gambler's fallacy. War never unfolds exactly according to the wishes of the initiator. If Japan responds in self-defense, perhaps downing a Chinese J-16, Beijing faces a grim strategic dilemma. A single miscalculation could rapidly transform a limited conflict into a massive regional war. If fighting spreads, a geostrategic boomerang effect kicks in. Japanese society would ditch post-war pacifism, speeding up constitutional revision. U.S. allies like South Korea and the Philippines would pivot decisively toward Tokyo and Washington. China's security environment would shift from deteriorating to suffocating. China's fragile economy, already battling real estate collapse, would face severe shocks like capital flight and soaring maritime insurance premiums. The third scenario, full-scale war, is the most catastrophic. If China seeks naval supremacy, it must target major U.S. bases such as Kadena and Yokosuka. This is a strict military necessity. Once U.S. forces are attacked, Washington will inevitably intervene, transforming the conflict into a battle for survival. The war would spread across the Asia-Pacific. Russia is the only potential variable, but its Pacific fleet is in dismal condition. The only meaningful contribution Russia could make lies in its nuclear arsenal. If conventional warfare fails, Moscow may threaten tactical nuclear strikes, triggering a chain reaction with U.S. nuclear retaliation. At that point, the outcome is determined by who produces the mushroom cloud first. Full-scale war is national suicide, and limited conflict is the only scenario offering political gains. But once the first missile is launched, the war develops a logic of its own. History shows that gamblers always believe they are the exception. What awaits them, however, is the blood-red twilight of a fading empire. The J-10C's Rafale kill has been exposed as a fabricated victory. China orchestrated the entire story to boost its struggling J-35 program. On May 7th, during the India-Pakistan air combat, China's propaganda machine went into full swing. State media pushed out reports that China's J-10C fighter jet had shot down a French Rafale. Pakistan's Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar announced that J-10C jets had downed 5 Indian aircraft, including 3 Rafales. China's ambassador to Pakistan was urgently summoned to hear the good news. However, 6 months later, the U.S.-China Economic and Security Review Commission released its annual report fully debunking China's narrative. The report highlighted 3 layers of fabrication: fake images, exaggerated claims, and a coordinated global marketing push. Fake social media accounts spread AI-generated images and screenshots from video games falsely presented as wreckage. Other images were recycled from unrelated conflicts. India's Press Information Bureau publicly denounced the materials as disinformation. While Pakistan claimed 5 kills, India acknowledged the loss of only 3 aircraft. CNN, citing French intelligence, confirmed that at least 1 Rafale had been shot down, but the Washington Post concluded debris was consistent with 1 Rafale and 1 Mirage 2000. The U.S. report noted that Chinese embassies aggressively promoted the J-10C's success to boost weapons sales immediately after the conflict. In Indonesia, Jakarta placed its original plan to purchase 42 Rafales on hold to evaluate the J-10C. Both the U.S. report and French intelligence indicate that Beijing's deeper objective was clearing the way for exports of the J-35 stealth fighter. Evidence suggests Beijing may have provided real-time intelligence throughout the 87-hour engagement via satellite positioning. Meanwhile, the J-35, China's competitor to the F-35, has yet to secure its first foreign customer. Key performance indicators remain unverified. In contrast, the Rafale possesses extensive real-world combat data. Even though 1 Rafale was lost, India did not cancel its orders, it increased them. Between 2015 and 2024, the Rafale achieved nearly 300 export orders. China's aviation industry remains trapped in a credibility trap. Cutting prices allows China to compete in the low-end market, but this does not build long-term trust. The U.S. report concluded that China's information campaign ultimately backfired. This month, Ukraine signed a letter of intent to purchase 100 Rafales for the coming decade. Just 6 months after the conflict, the international market delivered its verdict. A single Rafale, even one that was shot down, is more trustworthy than 100 victories manufactured through propaganda. A catastrophic scandal has been exposed. Chinese jewelry labeled pure gold and silver has been found to contain carcinogens 9,000 times over the limit. This warning comes amid a wave of incidents involving fake jewelry containing dangerously high levels of toxic substances. According to industry bloggers, the market is flooded with imitation jewelry and electroplated bracelets sold at low prices. Spectral analysis revealed compositions containing up to 56% nickel, 24% copper, and 30% cadmium. Experts emphasize that cadmium is a Group 1 carcinogen capable of entering the body through skin contact. When worn for long periods, these metals dissolve through sweat and infiltrate the body. Even more alarming, several earrings advertised as S925 silver were found to contain no silver at all, while cadmium levels exceeded safety limits by over 9,000 times. One blogger noted that since nickel is banned in Europe, many Chinese manufacturers use cadmium instead. What's frightening is that many of these toxic bracelets are bought as gifts for babies. Cadmium accumulates in the body for 10 to 30 years, damaging kidneys and weakening bones. Lead, also found in cheap jewelry, can cause neurological damage, affecting children's intellectual development. The root cause is the extremely low production cost. Counterfeit jewelry made from alloys may cost only a few yuan per kilogram, but is sold as genuine silver, yielding profits up to 170 times higher. Many consumers trust accompanying certificates, but bloggers warn that even some testing institutions in China are involved in document fraud. Small workshops can obtain fake test reports without submitting samples. To distinguish toxic jewelry, experts say one must burn the item completely or rely on professional analysis. Experts advise consumers not to be tempted by low prices. If financially possible, choose genuine gold or silver from reputable sources. One blogger remarked bitterly, "Chinese people have survived not because the government protects consumers, but simply because our lives are too tough." China's steel industry continues to shrink. Analysis suggests exports may fall by 50%. Amid a prolonged downturn in the real estate market, both crude steel output and steel consumption have declined. From January to October, China produced 818 million tons of crude steel, a year-on-year decrease of 3.9%. A spokesperson for the China Iron and Steel Association said the imbalance between supply and demand has become severe. Since the start of the 14th five-year plan, China's apparent steel consumption has been declining consecutively. From its peak of 1.04 billion tons in 2020, consumption fell to 890 million tons in 2024. The sustained downturn suggests that the country's steel-driven growth era may be coming to an end. In October, the industry reported profits dropped nearly 26% year-on-year, with a profit margin of only 1.2%. At the same time, China is confronting a challenging external environment. On July 7th, Vietnam imposed anti-dumping duties on Chinese hot-rolled steel coils. Vietnam is China's largest overseas steel market, yet exports to Vietnam plunged 24.8% in the first 3 quarters of 2025. At least 11 countries have adopted anti-dumping measures on Chinese steel products. According to China's Ministry of Commerce, exports to affected markets fell nearly 30%. Chen Hongbing of the Jiangsu Steel Association predicts direct steel exports may drop by 50% over the next 5 years. If that happens, experts warn such a contraction could shake the foundations of China's economic model. Leave a comment below and share your thoughts. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more in-depth analysis from Fox Hunt China. Thank you for watching.